I think we're live.
Yeah, we are. We are.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to tweet this out? Are you okay to do that?
Yes, no problem,
Thank you
mate.
very much. I can't. Yeah, we're live. We're live.
Good fun.
There we are. We're live. Let's just wait and see. Wait for some people to join us, mate. Let's check out. I don't know if that old stream briefly went up for like a second. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Let's see if we can get some comments. One concurrent viewer. That's probably you.
Yes, yeah, I'm in now.
Let's go your channel. Let's see. No concurrent viewers. Come on, guys. Oh, it says 5's watching on YouTube. That's interesting. But I can't actually.
6
I
now.
think that's just, yeah. Nobody wants to watch after this.
Don't blame me.
No, me neither. Me neither. Well, for people watching the stream back, we'll say hello to you. Here we go.
Yes.
We got some people. Oh, my mum's in. Hi, mum. Shout out to Caroline. I can see the chat. Yeah, for whatever reason, the stream's not showing anyone. So I'm going to assume because we've got some comments that we are live. So I think that will be a good place to start. Welcome, guys. Welcome back to Heart of the Holte. Welcome here. If you haven't joined us before, if this is your first time, hello. If you're a Watford fan as well, let us know in the comments. Dan, how you doing, bro?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. I think, after a game like this, we often quite tactically leave it a few hours, sometimes overnight, for the dust to settle, the emotions to calm just a little bit, for us to take a breather and sort of come on here a bit more level-headed. If this podcast was happening about 5:30, 6 o'clock, I think it would have been very different. And I think it's enabled us to go live because I think we probably wouldn't have done that before, would we?
No, absolutely not. But yeah, before we get into it, guys, this podcast, however you are consuming it, is sponsored by OneFootball. So we've got a message from our video sponsors just before we get into any of that. Dan, have you ever wanted an app that collates all the scores and news from your favourite teams in the whole of Europe, Dan? Have you ever wanted that?
Is a constant need of mine, mate, because there's always news. That's the thing, is that we love this game. We love the industry of football because it's ever changing, mate, and you need a place to keep up with it all.
And we have that place exactly for you guys.
Do,
it's OneFootball. Guys, this app is genuinely, it's life-changing.
It's great because I actually I use it. So it's great because it's where I pull the stats from for the podcast. So it's like there's all that new stuff as well, but you can track all of the players' stats from like across Europe for all the different leagues, for continental football as well. It's a dream. It's a dream. And the best part, mate, is it's free.
It's free, and guys, it would help support the channel massively if you check that OneFootball using the link in the description down below. We promise you guys won't be disappointed. Yep, so guys, if you haven't checked out OneFootball, make sure you do so by using the top link in the description. It's a great app. It is an app that we have actually used before we hopped on this podcast, and to refresh our minds, unfortunately, about what's happened there. Again, we've got some comments coming in. Guys, let us know your thoughts on this game. We will get to the comments a little bit later on. I think, first of all, Dan, we'll start with the team selection news, because I think, we were crying for wholesale changes. We were crying for something different, and as expected, if we're being completely honest, Dan, there was only one change, and that's been the change that yourself and I have both been clamouring for the longest time. Danny Ings to start. First of all, I mean, I think that I know I mentioned like, Gerrard's said about Aroga Begum, like he name dropped him in a press conference about a week ago. There was even talk from the Birmingham Mail about Ashley Young starting at right back, which, like, we love Ashley, but don't be ridiculous. I think, going into this game, ideally, I think the team was... it's the team I'd pick, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think I would have made too many changes, other than, of course, the agreed Morgan Sanson, as you know. my affection for this wonderful French man.
Yeah, mate. It's one of those where it all sounds very well and good, doesn't it? And maybe this is the one thing you can perhaps fault Stevie for, is saying that he would make so many changes. Because like when you and I were just going through the bench off air, mate, and it's like, okay, it's one thing to say we'll make wholesale changes from the Newcastle game. Fair enough, fair enough. We would love to, but we don't really have the facilities to do that. Like, you look at the bench from today's game. Obviously, he made the one change, Ings in for Watkins. But so outside of Watkins, you've got Sanson, who we'd like to see. But okay, so there's two, but Sanson. This is the thing: is it's not like we wanted Sanson. People were talking about Sanson starting as a 6, which is just like crazy. It's like, okay, we wanted Douglas Luiz is not playing his best football at the moment right now. We can all see that, but like, do we really think Morgan Sanson playing in a position which, let's be faced, he rarely plays for Aston Villa, let alone plays for Aston Villa as a 6? This guy played this position I think 12 times for Marseille. Most of them were in a 4-2-3-1, so he's got help alongside him to help anchor that midfield. So it's like, I don't really think that's a viable solution. I think, yes, okay, Douglas is, as I said, not doing great at the moment. But is Sanson the answer? Is Tim Heroic Boonen the right answer? This kid, this poor kid that's never played a game for the Villa, and you want him to anchor that mess of a midfield in a home game where, as we've seen, if things don't go your way, then it's going to get pretty nasty down at Villa Park. Okay, so like, there's like, okay, Watkins is one, Sanson is another. So it's like, really, you're going to bring in what? Ben Christen, who we had on the bench, Courtney House, Robin Olsen, Leon Bailey, who came on and still doesn't look fit. Okay, that's the only thing I can fault. I can't fault Steve for not changing the lineup, because I don't think we realistically have the facilities to do it. The only thing which I can say perhaps he shouldn't have done is said that he was going to do that, but maybe that was an emotional reaction from him.
Yeah, I think
I think Villa fans. It's one thing to say it, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, no, that's the thing as well, and I think like realistically, although we did draw to Leeds, it was 3-3. It was an absolutely crazy game. I don't think that it's a bit unfair to put a lot of like criticism on the players for that performance just because of the nature of the game. Newcastle, I think, is completely fair and justifiable to criticise the players, criticise the manager, which I think is important to note. But Stevie is well within his right to play the same players that played against Newcastle, because everybody deserves a shot at redemption. Everybody deserves the opportunity to right the wrongs. And I think, with the sort of the reactionary nature of like a podcast, a live stream like we're even doing now, Dan, or just Twitter and social media in general, you're often really not allowed to, you make a mistake, that's it, you're gone, like, because that's all that matters in the heat of the moment. So I didn't really have too many qualms with Villa, only bringing Danny Ings in. Again, I'd have loved to have seen Sanson, but I can't imagine what Sanson has to do to get a game, and I genuinely can't see a future for Morgan at the club. There was a comment about Sanson, actually. My boom mic is just covering the chat, guys. So I'm just trying to move so as I can actually see it. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on Sanson, guys, in the comments, because I seem to have lost this comment now. But yeah, I love Morgan. I echo the same sentiments as you, mate. He's not a 6. He's shown his time in France. He's an 8. He's that box to box. He scored so many beautiful goals in Ligue 1, and I know it is a farmers' league. I will caveat it with that, but free Morgan is all I can say. But I think ultimately, and again, a lot of criticism is going towards the players today, and I think that is completely fair. I think the system's a problem, and it's going to take time to get used to the system. And I think it's a very brave way of playing, and it's almost completely contradicts everything these players would have heard and been coached before under Dean. Dan, because Dean loves a touchline winger. It's all about spreading the play wide, using the pitch as much as possible, making that pitch as big as possible, and sort of making your opposition work, whereby Villa now are generally playing a lot more compact, and we're looking to try and play this cute football in between the lines, and it's very high risk, and the midfield is always going to come under scrutiny. Now, after the last game, Dan, I was saying that there just I wasn't seeing enough sort of the midfield dropping back to receive possession, that kind of stuff. It happened again today, I think, to be fair, we were a lot better at doing it, but almost at our detriment. Now I'm gonna bring up the sort of average positions here, guys, of Villa today. If you consult the last podcast that we did, then you would see how just narrow that midfield three was. So for me to see a bit more space between Ramsey, Dougie, and John is a good thing. But my God, look at how high Luca Dean is, right? That is absolutely. I mean, of course, that's where the width's coming from, and that's fine and well. But on the odd occasion, and it did happen where Watford counter-attacked us, like, you know, they already had the playbook on how to beat Aston Villa because they did it at the start of the season with the exact same thing. Villa played a high line, fullbacks bombing on, the pace from Sarr and Dennis getting in behind, and it causes so many problems, mate.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think, Luca Dean is an interesting one because, I haven't really wanted to say it, but I haven't really been too impressed from what I've seen so far from Lucas. He doesn't seem to be getting up that left wing with the same urgency or purpose as he did at Everton. It feels a bit more laboured, and I'm actually surprised by that average position, mate, because it feels like a lot of the time with Lucas, it's sideways or it's backwards, and it felt like 100 miles an hour when he was bombing up that left wing for Everton. I don't really feel like we've seen that too much. I don't. This is not a slight against Dino at all. Like, he's a fantastic player and everything like that, and it is just a sort of smoothing in period. But I haven't. He seemed to do really well in his first couple of games. But I don't know about you, mate. But I haven't really felt like it's hit those levels again since. I haven't really come away from a game since his first couple where I thought, God, Lucas was brilliant there. And I hope you get the best out of him soon because he is so important, mate. But that comes with this system and everything like that, and the width, as you rightly said, it does come from the fullbacks. I think that's an all right way to play. I think you've seen a lot of clubs do it quite successfully. Gerrard won't deviate from the system. It's something that's tried and tested with him, and it's something that he clearly trusts. But I think that the thing is that when Digne isn't having the best game, and when Cash, as we've seen, he's got a really good delivery on him at times. You look at his ball in for Coutinho in the Leeds game. You think, where is that all the time? You know what I mean, man? Like we've said a lot of times on this podcast how disappointing Cash's deliveries are, and they are most of the time. But then all of a sudden, every now and again, he pulls out a ball like that. You think, you've clearly got the ability. But whilst the fullbacks for the most of the time aren't giving you that creativity and that just direct delivery in those wide areas, and they're not playing as well as they can do, it really hampers your side. But mate, I don't think it's a problem of creating chances because as we were talking about, I think the main point today is we've had 20 shots on goal, and one of them was on target, which was something Stevie spoke about, and I know something you're itching to talk about as well, mate.
It is like we've been talking privately about getting a sort of Ings Watkins podcast done, like getting a proper deep dive, which will probably come over the next few weeks for you guys. I think that's it's a really interesting debate, and we'll look to kind of have a bit of that debate right now. So let us know your thoughts. There are a few comments about Ings being lively from Alex. I completely agree. Ings set the tone for Villa. I think we saw Villa play their best football in the opening 25 minutes, and there were constant there were these slide draw passes from Buendia, who I want to shout out, who was fantastic, I thought, today. And Danny was really causing the Watford defence a lot more problems than I thought, especially considering Trusa Kong wasn't playing and he's just a walking accident ready to happen. We've seen this guy get nutmegged in Chris MD videos. I don't know how he's a Premier League footballer, but that is a completely different story. But I really liked how Ings. The thing with Ollie Watkins is he's a winning runner, which is absolutely fantastic, and we love Ollie to bits on this channel. The goals he scored for us last season, invaluable, joint top goal scorer this season. But when it ain't working, sometimes you have to change things, and I think the difficulty that I'm failing to understand. People say that Danny Ings doesn't suit Villa's system, right? Which, in my opinion, is complete and utter nonsense. Because when you're playing with these 2 10s and you're playing this narrow football, you're not hoofing a ball up long. And the reason why Ollie Watkins suits the system is because certain players aren't actually playing the true system. Like when we're seeing these sort of 90-yard hoof balls from Mings, again, we've already been into this in so much detail in other podcasts. That isn't Mings' fault, but that is as a result of the midfield failing to support the defence, therefore completely circumventing the system, like the system which Gerrard is trying to play, which is a system that Danny Ings would naturally thrive in. And, he gets himself in a really good position earlier on and doesn't win a penalty, which should have been a penalty. Which is just absolutely shocking, mate. What was your view on that? Because we had the replay in the ground as well, and I was just losing my mind, mate, honestly.
Yeah, mate, I hate saying it, but the ref was shocking. Yeah. Again, bro. It feels like we said this so many times now. It's to the point where, you look back and I've watched key moments from the game, you can hear it in comms as well. Comms are like, well, why is he doing this? It's like, but this is a running theme, mate, and this is something that we clearly can't rely on anymore, and it's such a shame. But yeah, it did feel like a lot of decisions went against Villa today.
I'm just getting bored of chanting "You're not fit to referee." Like my throat can't take it anymore, mate. Honestly, it feels like for the past 4 we've had some absolute stinkers, which is just it's so frustrating because we don't want to come on here and talk about contentious VAR decisions or whatever, but you get a penalty early on, that completely changes the whole narrative of the game. And I think Watford came with a game plan. Roy Hodgson is a very good manager. Villa are the team that he's won the most games against as a manager, which again is another record that we keep talking about on these podcasts, and that comes as no surprise. You knew that they were going to be organised, but they do have some quality in that side, and I'm gonna take partial responsibility for that Dennis goal, mate, because I benched Ollie in FPL, which I thought was going to lead to an Ollie Watkins hat trick if he played, but I kept Dennis in because it's a double game week.
I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't do exactly the same thing.
That's the thing, man. Dennis is a good player. Watford are going through a purple patch, and that's what I think kind of makes it tough to take. But we were saying off air, mate. It feels like there's a lot of hysteria. And again, let us know your thoughts, guys. I think it is, anger is justified. I don't think we're not dismissing that, but again, for the 2 people that are calling for Gerrard's head, it's like he's had this is his 13th, 14th game in charge. It's going to take time to play the way he wants, and I think ultimately one thing that we do have to consider is when he was managing Glasgow Rangers, there was no disrespect to any manager in the Scottish division, but please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see the Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola proteges at Hibs and Hearts who are dismantling his Rangers and side and Celtic either. He's not really had to pit his wits against too many elite managers, and the only chances he'd have ever had to do that are in the Europa League and things like that. And we can sit here and say, Roy's washed, Roy's this, Roy's that. He's 76 and he's just managed to secure the double over Villa this season, albeit he didn't do the first one. That was 2 managers ago, which is again just crazy to think. 2 managers have sat in the dugout for both of these fixtures, mate, and both Villa managers have lost.
Yeah, that's incredible to think when you think about it, mate. But no, it's look, man, Jesus, the amount of Villa fans I've seen saying Gerrard out. It's like, come on, man. What kind of game are we playing here? Are we really being serious? Man, I do genuinely believe Stevie's the guy. I really do. I really, really do. I think, man, you look at what Gio Van Bronckhorst did the other day with Rangers in the Europa League away at Dortmund. And it's like, man, Stevie did walking. He didn't just walk so Gio could run. Stevie he stripped it down, laid the foundations, built the house that Gio has walked into and just kept running. It's like what Steven has done with that Rangers team is a perfect example of taking one team from level B to level A. And I do genuinely believe in time, which is the key part, in time, he will do that with Villa. Like, man, like, honestly, call yourselves out in the comments. Who thought that Gerrard was going to walk into Villa and have us finish in top 8 this season? Never. Whenever you make a managerial switch in the middle of the season, it's never a case of, right, here are your targets, go and get us European football. Never going to happen. It's, get us through to the end of the season. Let Stevie assemble his team. Then judge him, man. Then judge him. At the end of this is what I've said the whole time, man. Is like, if we get to the end of the season, we go and spend 50, 60 million on that true DM, and we fit him in, and he gets rid of who he wants, brings in who he wants to. We have 5 ins, 5 outs, Steven Gerrard's squad, and we're in this position, sat here talking the same talk next February. Then we can judge the guy. Because then it's like, right, okay, we need to look at manager right now. Jesus Christ, come on, man, come on, let's play sensible. I don't know what the issue is right now, mate. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry for everyone that came to this YouTube live stream looking for analysis and the answer to that very question. I really can't put my finger on it right now. I've seen a lot of people say that the players know that this season is done. They know that there's going to be a lot of outs, so the heads have gone. Don't necessarily buy into that. I think there may be 1 or 2 cases of that, but on the whole, I don't really think there's too many players that know they're expendable.
Yeah,
I think as we said, given that the squad is like who do you look at really in this squad and go, right, they're definitely off in the summer? I can't really name too many players that you can look at and go, well, the only ones that you can really pick out are the guys that aren't getting a chance, like Samson and everything like that, who you'd say that you wouldn't, you can't blame for wanting to leave in the summer one bit. But for that to be the case, I think there would have to be a lot of guys that knew, right, okay, I'm gone. Which was, I think, the only player I could have said that for is Matty Target, and he packed his suitcase and was off in January. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on right now, mate. But I know for sure that I don't think we can place the blame at the gaffer's feet too much.
No, I think as well, there's so much pressure on that number 6 in this system because you're essentially running the midfield by yourself. You have to snuff out the danger by yourself. You've got again, this average position map isn't the greatest indicator of how isolated Douglas can be at times. This is from Who Scored, by the way, if you guys can't see. But really, there's been talk, Dan, of like Ndidi coming in 50 mil. Like, that's your guy. That's your guy who can run the midfield like by himself. Like, that's the kind of player Villa do need to look at. But I don't know. Short-term solution, I've got to say, I don't know whether this is a controversial take whatsoever. I thought Callum Chambers had a really good game. I thought he had an excellent game, in fact, and was. Listen, Ezri Konsa is the supreme defender, right? He is. But what Callum Chambers offered in terms of progressing the ball and taking that pressure off Tyrone Mings in doing so was invaluable today when Villa were looking to attack. I know it is. I'm praising the defender when we lost 1-0, but it took the pressure off Tyrone. The fact that Chambers was comfortable on the ball, comfortable enough to step up out of the defence, look to play the ball, and he's been schooled by Arsenal, Arsene Wenger, all that kind of stuff. Of course, played with Emi as well. Been a teammate of Emi's for years, which is something I think we neglected to mention in the initial live stream. And he was really aggressive in all of the right places today, and was commanding, and made 6 clearances, blocked 1 shot, made 1 tackle, was only dribbled past once, 86% pass accuracy, touched the ball 95 times. Won 5 of his 10 aerial duels. Again, ideally that's a bit higher, but we sort of struggled a little bit with that with Chris Wood in the last game. Which we called him out for, but I didn't think he was terrible against Newcastle. The aggression he's shown today, Dan, and the willingness to win the ball, and especially when in the initial first half, in the sort of 30 minutes, when Villa were spraying that ball around from left to right, Callum Chambers was on the edge of the box. I was really liking this. I think he can play in the DM role, and I think that aggression, as I say, the way he's comfortable on the ball, I don't see why we don't try it.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think at this point, I will say, I don't think today was Douglas's worst game. I think,
Yeah.
I think actually, whilst Ollie came on and he did offer some, I think we actually lost a lot of shape after Douglas came off. Um, so I think we're reaching a point now where I don't, because of how Swiss Army knife like Callum Chambers is, it's difficult to say exactly what we've signed him for. Obviously, Gerrard will have an idea in his mind of, okay, I've signed Callum Chambers to come in and be the backup centre half, the backup right back, the backup DM, like whatever it is, or maybe he's being brought in to play a combination of all of those positions. I've seen a lot of calls for him to say to enter that DM spot, and I think he certainly needs to be entered into that conversation. I think he certainly has a lot of the traits for it. And I think it might be one of those where it's difficult to say, man. Because I was just about to say against lesser opposition, it might be a good chance to embed him in. But I mean, how many better opportunities than today are we going to have a chance to do that? So it's an interesting one, mate. I think that's one of the things I think would be nail down what is expected of Douglas Luiz until the end of the season, because if Chambers comes in and like again it doesn't work, it's like, okay, well then Douglas has got to be the answer. So maybe it would help figure things out, mate. But as I said, that spot is so important to me. The only thing I can say, like with absolute certainty, is that we really, really miss Marvelous Nakamba.
We really do, man. And oh god, like someone give us a date, please. I need to know. Like, I know Dan, you've offered up your leg. Let's just get this man back. Let's just get this man. I think it'd be a bit of a Wesley situation there, mate, wouldn't it? One leg, your leg would be longer than his. But hey, if you, I know you can pass a ball, mate, so that's important for Marv. So hopefully,
I think, yeah.
You're a progressive goalkeeper.
What is it? Is it? Well, it depends, mate. It depends. Is it his right or his left leg?
That's a good question.
If it's his right, he might be okay. If it's his left, we've got no chance. We're better off playing. We're like, put whoever else you want in there. Because if it's the right foot, we might have a chance.
Let us know, guys. Let us know in the comments. But yeah, I think it's frustrating because like now there is like quite a clear sort of playbook how to beat Aston Villa. And let me just show you guys the positions of Watford. I'm going to try not to ruin the stream like last time. You can see, right? So okay, Villa again. I'm showing you guys the average positions again here. A lot more. We're compacting these forward areas. You can see Coutinho, Ings, and Buendia all quite close together, and the fullbacks are extremely wide and high, as you would expect under Steven Gerrard. And just look at Watford, man. Right, look at how these guys are lined up. Okay, so you've got Cathcart and I forget the name of the centre half who they signed in January, the number 22, the one who was feigning the injury at the end. Fuck you. That was just a disgrace, but it's to be expected. There are greater gaps between the midfield three, and you can see, right, they're doubling up with the fullbacks and the wide men in the positions, behind the positions. Sorry, I've done it again. I've moved the stream. In those exact positions where Kashi and Dean are leaving just insane amounts of space, which of course McGinn and Ramsey should be covering. Which I don't know. I think, I was thinking about this on the way back up here, Dan. We've not seen the best of John McGinn. That is complete. There's probably a video in this, Dan. There's probably a video in where the fuck is John McGinn, right? But think about it. Like, the best John McGinn we've seen, like in recent years, has been for Scotland, playing as a 10, playing as a second striker. He can't do that at Aston Villa because we have Felipe Coutinho and we have Emi Buendia and we have Leon Bailey, who is someone we will get onto because I've seen a few comments about Bailey as well. It's almost like a catch-22 because McGinn isn't a 6. You obviously can't play him there, and he is far too talented to be covering Matty Cash. But then you just can't play him as a 10. You can't, like, with the squad we have, like, you can't do that.
Let me give you a blanket statement right now.
Dan, have you ever
if we want to get anywhere, we are not going to get anywhere with these players. And you know what? I will put John into this. Who we are constantly saying, well, it's not their strongest position, but we could maybe fit them in here, or like, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we're not going to get anywhere playing Luis at a 6 if he's an 8. We're not going to get anywhere playing Sanson at 6 if he's an 8. We're not going to get anywhere playing John at an 8 if he's a 10. We're not going to get anywhere playing Chambers as a 6 if he's a right back, like, or a centre back. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Seriously, it's like we have all these players, and like, maybe you need to cut sentiments and emotional ties and move them on, because you're not going to get anywhere with like shoehorning guys into the team. You look at the top teams in any division. All the players, like, you don't have this going on. You don't have this situation where it's like, oh, we're sort of playing in here, but he's better at playing up there, but we can't play in there because we've got him. It's like, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. If we're going to get anywhere, we need guys to into the squad that go, okay, this is the position we need you to do. This is the job that we need you to do. Week in, week out, this is what's expected of you. And we don't have that right now. And I think that's going on with the whole midfield, mate. I think that might be the problem. Is like, you've got Luis playing there, who's out of position. You've got John playing there, who, as you rightly pointed out, doesn't play his best position there. Looks a shadow of the guy we go and see play on international duty. Ramsey has adopted the position of an 8 quite well going forward, but as we've said, he lacks the nous defensively to truly nail that spot and put in the kind of performances which we need in the midfield that's really lacking at the moment. It's a mess. You've got three guys playing there right now, and I don't think any of them are playing in their best position. It's like, what, we expect to progress playing like that? Absolutely not.
No. That's the thing, man. It's like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of ground to be covered for the midfield, and like, speaking of shoehorning players in, like, you alluded to the changes, mate. When Dougie came off, it felt like Stevie just went inshallah, like full football manager mode, like demanded more, just brought all of his attacking players on and hope for the best. Like, I don't know. I don't have a problem with him taking the risk, but it has to work. Like, there was a sustained amount of pressure on Watford at the time, and it was almost refreshing to see a substitute being made in the 55th minute, mate. Because clearly whatever they discussed at half time, they'd actioned, right? Because he's gone, okay, well, if you're not good enough, you're coming on. And that's what happened. And we were so unbalanced. But the difficult thing is, like, on another day, like, maybe against a different opposition, like, just like throwing everything in the kitchen sink at it, like, that can work. It can work. But more often than not, it just doesn't, does it, mate?
You got to be careful. Because you get sucked into a game of, well, we feel like we should be winning at home, and it almost begins to feel like you're losing and you're chasing a game when you're not. You're on top. If you're playing another opposition in the top half, I don't think you change that, because you realise how finely poised the game is. Like, okay, we're actually on top, and if we go too gung ho, we're going to lose it at the other end. But you get sucked into playing a game of where you're playing, because you're playing a team lower down the Premier League table. You're sort of like, right, crap, we need to do something. We need desperately to get a goal at all costs. And you keep fucking throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. And eventually you realize, you throw so much forward, you lose and they go and score. Because let's not like Watford. They're not the best team, but that old cliche, there's no bad teams in the league. The Premier League is full of quality players. Emmanuel Dennis won't be playing Championship football next season, I can't imagine.
No.
He's a very good player. So it's like, you can't really do that, and I think that's what we got sucked into. And I think you're right in saying that you can't do that, because we've got sucked into who we're playing against, and it begins to feel like you're losing when in fact you're drawing. And if you throw it too much at it, you end up losing what you've already got. And I think if we're actually playing a better team there and we're on top, I don't think we'd make that change.
No, I think, that's an interesting point. That is an interesting point. I think I don't want to, I feel like we've underestimated our opposition on this run, Dan. And I don't mean us. I mean the players, and I mean the management, because we were talking ahead of this run. We're 3 games into a 4-game run where we expected 12 points, and we've got 1. Like, that is unforgivable. But again, like the trends will tell you, Villa played better against the top sides. Like, we will pick up points, but people who are worried about getting drawn into a relegation dogfight, I don't think that's totally impossible. I think Villa need to win probably like 3 or 4 games and they're safe. But look at how easy Everton have got dragged into that. And again, you know, there's now not a huge amount of distance between us and Newcastle. I think 5 points. It's not looking good. You know, Burnley, Wout Weghorst, you know, helping them with the games in hand. Massive win for them against Brighton. I don't expect Brighton to play like that against us, because I don't think Lewis Dunk's ever had to deal with a player like Val. And it's going to be very, very difficult to kind of break Brighton down after that. They're going to be very tough to beat. It's a tough place to go, the Amex. It really is. And I don't know. There's a lot of chat in the comments about wholesale changes. Yeah, it's a difficult one though, isn't it? Because as you said, like, you know, as we said, mate, like you can't just take Dougie out and put a Roger Bigham in, and you can't just like put Ashley Young at right back. I don't think Ashley was at fault for the goal. Of course, you know, he'd been on the pitch like 5 seconds. I'm exaggerating there, I know. Yeah, it's a difficult one. He was ball watching, wasn't watching the man. Dennis takes the goal really well. He does. I'd love Dennis to join Villa. I really would. I think if you can sell Watkins and get Dennis, I would be all over that. But I don't know. There's a comment here, the Sitting Duck, great name. Too much of the dark arts in the modern game, yeah, and not enough at B6. Not enough. We need to be professional bastards. We need to be hard. We need, like, Steven Gerrard, man. Like, I know, like, I think probably one of the lasting memories of Steven Gerrard, other than this, you know, the slip. We don't need to talk about that. I remember, I think it was like 2014, maybe. It was his last game at Old Trafford. His last game, and he got sent out. He got sent off for kicking the shit out of Ander Herrera like twice in 10 seconds, which is obviously a stupid thing to do. But he was so proud. Like, he's such a proud person. Like, he couldn't let this cocky little lad who's a United player like make a complete mug of him. So he took him down twice in 30 seconds, and he got a red card, and obviously unceremoniously, walked off the pitch at Old Trafford. But Gerrard was a hard man. Like, this guy was horrible to play against. He's kicking you, he's pulling your shirts, he's doing whatever it takes to win. And I do not see that in this team. And that is my biggest gripe, because I think the first thing I'm saying if I'm Steven Gerrard is, you're soft, lads. You're soft. Get in the gym. Find something that can, like, you can dial in some anger. You need to get yourself in the zone where you are ready to go to war every time you step on that pitch. And I think sometimes, you know, that kind of, we can look at that and go, oh, you know, Douglas makes some stupid challenges and stuff like that. At least he's making challenges. I want it to be smarter. I want it to be more effective. But man, like, Villa need to be bastards.
Yeah. I think that is you gotta. I've embraced that now, man. I've embraced that. You know, we looked at the way that Watford wound down the clock today, and it's like you can't get too late. So it's like you can't. We've got to stop. Like, you can't comment on it anymore. You can't say that you don't like it, because it's part of the game. You have to embrace that, and that's the bit you have to play. I think maybe we would see more of it if they were in winning positions, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know, like this sort of time wasting. You can't really do it if you're losing or chasing the game, I suppose. So maybe if we're just sort of that, you know, be able to hold on to a few leads, maybe we'd see a bit more of it, mate. But yeah, I think there is an element of that. I don't think, again, I think that brings it full circle, mate. I don't think this is Stevie's team. Maybe with who he brings in the summer, that there's a slightly different mentality.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, who guys would you like? Who would you guys like to see brought in? I think that's a good thing to get some comments in before we end. John McGinn's the only one that tackles. Yeah, like, and even then, like, he's not even that effective. Like, there was 1 or 2 good tackles from him today that I really liked. Trey, I fear we spent too long with Dean in charge, and the players clearly got an air of complacency. Yeah, I think that could be a thing. I think we've always just been a bit soft, like, since we've come down. Like, you know, from the since we got relegated to the Championship, there's been a bit of a soft underbelly to Villa that I just don't like. Like, you know, you can sit there and get mad at all the little, like, I think, you know, like, Man City and Fernandinho are the perfect example of it, man. Like, Fernandinho knows he's not got the pace to keep up with like Premier League strikers when he's playing at centre half. What does he do? He's kicking heels, he's pulling shirts, he's stamping on feet wherever he can, and like you have to be cute about it. I'm not saying go and get yourself sent off, but like you have to be cute about it.
David Silva was a bastard.
He was horrible. He was like, you know, he's labelled as this wonderful, like, you know, beautiful, pure, like, just like, you know, quintessential Spanish footballer. No, he was kicking lumps out of Jack Grealish when we played against him. Like he was. That's just what he did. So you know, we need to do that a bit more. Hi Connor, thanks for joining. Not sure what you've covered already. As I'm only just joining, but taking Buendia off was a strange one for me. Yeah, I think it was. When when I talk about the fight and tenacity, Buendia has that in abundance. And that's what I love about him. He's so he's just so fired up for it all the time, and that's what I love about him. There is an aggression, there is a point to prove. There's a healthy anger, and you know, there's a few people around me today going, oh, I'm fed up of seeing, you know, the arms go up in the air and stuff like that. But like, for me, like he's not throwing his toys out of the pram like 24/7, and he's not annoyed with like us. He's not annoyed with like he's annoyed himself. He sets himself very high standards, and yeah, you know, as after going on that rant about Villa needing to be bastards, like Emmy is a tough cookie, and I really like that.
Yep. When did it feel a podcast, mate? The official transition.
Yeah, I think it may be. You know, I think it may be. I love that one. Do you know, he came from Real Madrid, mate. You know, he played for Real Madrid when he was a kid. This guy, he has to be a master of the dark arts. He just does. You know what they're like. But yeah, our Villa too nice. Yeah, I think we just covered that. No pace and no power. I'd rather be a Phil than a Justin. That's an interesting name, Phil. Or maybe you are Justin and you don't like your name. Yeah, I think, you know, the substitutes. Leon Bailey. Let's talk Leon Bailey, Dan, because so many are writing him off. There's been a few comments as well, and I'm going to have to like politely disagree because he's been injured for so long, and he has to play. He has to get minutes. He has to stay fit. He has to maintain match fitness. I do feel that ball from JJ that he failed to control, I do feel like we would have both controlled that and slide home there. So, you know, I'm not saying he's completely devoid from criticism, but I don't know. I can't criticize him. I can't criticize him yet. Like, even when he was fit, he wasn't fit, and he was scoring screamers. So I think we need to just, you know, we need to let him have some time to embed back in the side. I think Coutinho looked tired. I thought he did against Newcastle as well. And maybe it's the perfect time to get 60 minutes out of Leon and you know, rotate the squad and let's be healthy about it. Let's try and have a holistic mindset of how we manage the squad.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Like, we're not getting the best of Leon right now. He isn't fully fit. He doesn't look right. I just like we have to create positive environments around these players, and like, you know, I spoke a couple of weeks ago about, like, you know, just allow these guys, you know, give them positive space. Like, appreciate everything that they've got going on. I'm not seeing the best of Leon right now, but that's because, you know, he's coming off the back of not one but two, I believe, injuries. He will get there. He's absolutely electric. A truly wonderful player. I said when he signed for Villa, he's probably the best, like, in terms of talent at the level that they came in. Probably the best signing I've seen Villa make in my lifetime. I think Coutinho's perhaps outshone that slightly, but Leon is incredible, mate. He's absolutely incredible, and he will get there. But you know, he's not going to get there if we keep shitting on him. And we just have to give it time. He's not there right now, but let's not forget what he did to Everton when he came on. That's what we've seen him do. So we just have to allow him to get back to his best. But admittedly, there is another side to that where, he should have done a lot better with that pass from JJ. But you know, we are, that sort of summed up the afternoon. I don't think we could really isolate too many incidents because that's not the reason we lost the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, like you can't just put it on that. But no, you want your forwards to do better there. But I think, you know, again, like, to kind of circle back to your point, mate, 20 shots, one on target, that isn't acceptable. That is not good enough. And again, to talk about Ings and Watkins, to bring it back to that, the answer is absolutely not start Watkins the next game. because you like what was the point in starting Ings today? Like, he deserves a fair crack at it. He deserves 5 or 6 games, Danny Ings, in the starting 11. And listen, if he doesn't score, if he doesn't offer anything, I will happily come on this podcast and put my hands up and say I was wrong and you guys knew better and whatever. But I genuinely feel like the XG this season specifically for Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins is massively in favour of Ollie, despite there only being one like actual goal between the two of them. But like, that's put down to the fact that, you know, they were playing in this awful, like, weird striking partnership. Danny's getting minutes off the bench here and there, and you know, it's just like, Danny Ings is a guy who I think Ollie Watkins is a confidence player, and I think he needs that run of games, which he's had. Like, let's be clear, he's had a run of games where the manager's quite clearly put his arm around him and gone, you know, you're my guy, like, the goal will come, don't worry. Ollie needs that, right? Danny Ings, he don't need that. Danny Ings just fucking scores goals because he's Danny fucking Ings and he's a good, like, he's a very good striker. But again, he hasn't had a fair run in the team and hasn't really been allowed that time to build up chemistry on the pitch on a Saturday at 3 o'clock for the 90 minutes with his players. But you can see Buendia knows exactly where Danny Ings is. He knows. Look at Brentford. Look at today, the balls that he was playing in the first half to Danny. Ollie Watkins doesn't get on the end of them because he's not intelligent enough to. He isn't. And I love him to bits. Again, I don't want this to appear like I'm slandering Ollie, but Danny Ings is a goal-scoring machine. And given a fair run in the side, he will score goals.
Yeah, I think we owe him that, mate. I really do. I feel like we're broken records on this point now. But yeah, echo the sentiment completely, mate.
Absolutely. We'll take a few more comments just before we wrap this up, because this, you know, we've been going for about almost an hour, 3/4 of an hour, which is great. It's been great interacting with you guys. It's nice doing it in this sort of format. We thought we'd go live today. I think it's like the result just kind of it favoured this format, I think, as well. I don't think either of us could sit here and listen to ourselves as we edited it back, mate, and uploaded it. I don't think it'd have probably made it out, but we're not all doom and gloom, are we, mate? We're not all doom and gloom.
No, 100%. As always.
As much good Dino did for us, I truly believe there's one thing that he was the one thing that cursed us since we were promoted. I don't know, like, he did. Like, it's clear that there were limitations, but then, you know, I guess there's also an argument. Like, you know, Dean never got his fully fit front three that he bought or was bought for him, and kind of had that pulled out from underneath him, which isn't great. But yeah, I mean, like, he's not the manager. Like, he's doing great things at Norwich. Went 1-0 up against Liverpool. I know they lost that, but, you know, they've had a nice little run of games, Norwich, to be fair. When Deer comes off, we lose threat. Yeah, John, I completely agree. I think there's that tenacity. There's that just like ability to pick a pass out, which is so important. And Simon, no more bubble wrap for these guys. They need to know where they are lacking, and if they don't get it and improve to that level and expect to say bye in the summer. Yeah, I think that's true. I think, you know, it's difficult to know who, other than, you know, obviously Sanson, who I, you know, sadly think will go as you mentioned earlier, Dan. Like, as you said earlier, it's hard to know who may go, but I think we could be in for a potentially exciting summer. I think if we got one, I don't want to write the season off already, Dan. I know we're nearly at the end of February, but I hate to wish the games away and the time away, but it's just one of them ones, isn't it? It's not very Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, indeed.
But guys, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It has been a pleasure. As always, you guys are the best. We have an amazing little community. We decided to do this ad hoc, just off the cuff. So to you guys who joined on such short notice or hopped in halfway through, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We'd appreciate it even more if you would check out OneFootball using the top link in the description. It would help Dan and I out more than you could ever know. OneFootball are really helpful for us in terms of being able to create a larger volume of content for you guys. You know, the previews are back, so there's that to look forward to. You will see our two optimistic faces probably in 3 or 4 days' time, previewing the Brighton game. And yeah, make sure you subscribe for more. The subs have slowed down a little bit. We want to hit 6K before the end of the season. We know it's possible because we're seeing other people do it. And yeah, we really appreciate it. If you guys who are like in this stream right now who aren't subs, if you get sub in, that would be amazing. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Up the Villa.